Hi everyone, this is Dr Raquel Butler from Integrated Veterinary Therapeutics.
And Sophie Vandenberg from Equine Posture. And we welcome you to the Equine Functional Posture podcast, your ultimate source for insights into the influence of functional posture on biomechanics, health, and overall well-being of horses.
Whether you're a seasoned equestrian, an equine professional, or simply a horse enthusiast, this podcast is designed to help you understand the critical aspects of functional posture.
Tune in each week as we discuss practical tips, delve into expert interviews, and explore the latest research in the impact of functional posture on equine anatomy, physiology, movement, and more.
Let's create a world where we empower our horses to be in a mental, emotional, and physical balance. Hey Soph, how are you today?
Really well. It's a beautiful day here, and I am so excited that we are recording our first podcast.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like, it's been such a long time kind of getting to this point. When I first developed the online equine functional course, over, I think 18 months ago now? No, not quite, 12 months ago. I developed that to empower people to help their horses, and it's been amazing. We've had a few run-throughs now of the course, and we've really seen like how people have developed through the course and how horses have changed their posture with very little input from their owners, and how we've empowered people in that connection with their horses. Like, it's been such an amazing journey so far, hasn't it?
It really has. And the community that's developed coming out of those courses has been incredible. People come together and have been super supportive to one another about, seeing each other's journey and how they've been able to create incredible changes, improving their horse's posture. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
So what brought you to being so passionate about this in the first place,
Yeah, it's a good question. I think that I have had a lot of difficult horses in the past, horses that bucked and reared and laid down when they were girthed, and I really didn't have an understanding of the importance of posture. And it wasn't until I, became a body worker and done a lot of dissections, and I've had my own horses with postural challenges that I really recognized how my horses changed, like when I worked with their posture, and how not only they physically changed, but how they kind of mentally and emotionally shifted as well. And then seeing that in the online course and also seeing that in my clients' horses has really shown me the power of posture and balance. And yeah, I'm amazed by it every day, the impact that it has on people's horses and their connection with their horse and the horse's interactions with their environment and everything like that. So yeah, I think that's a big part of my passion for it.
Yes. And you mentioned that you work as a body worker. So what's been your educational journey in getting here?
Yeah, so I'm a veterinarian. I've been a vet for 20 years, and I as a vet, I became a bit frustrated with treating the symptoms and not actually getting to the underlying cause of those symptoms. And so I was really looking for a different understanding. I also met a spinal vet, so Dr. Ian Bidstrup, and I met him when I was at vet school. And I spent a day with him, and he looked at the walk and said, I can see everything I need to see. And I'm like, well, that's not what we learn at vet school. Like, we're learning that you have to watch a horse trot, and that's the only way to assess lameness. And so at that point, I was like, this is what I want to do. So it took me a few years being a vet, of which I realized I really didn't enjoy being a vet, until, I did all the travel stuff. I worked in the UK for a couple of years and did a lot of worldwide travel, which was amazing. And then I came back and I was looking for a course to get me started, and there wasn't really a veterinary course at that point. The animal chiropractic course was not running. And Ian kept saying, you need to wait for that, don't travel overseas. He's been an amazing mentor to me throughout my life. And I found equine muscle release therapy, which is bone therapy for animals. So I studied that, and then I started my own business, Integrated Vet Therapeutics. And, just gradually kind of left the veterinary world very gradually. Like, it was over a couple of years that I, reduced my veterinary hours and built up my business. And then I met Sharon May Davis, who's been an absolutely amazing mentor. And I did a dissection with her. Actually, I first did an advanced biomechanics. And she's like, yeah, you can see this and that and all this stuff at the walk again. And I was like, wow, really? I have a lot to learn. And then I went to a number of dissections, and she took me under her wing and trained me to teach her equine anatomy classes and her biomechanics classes in the Netherlands and England. And I realized, wow, I really love teaching stuff. So I I also study a lot of other bodywork modalities like craniosacral therapy. I studied with Dr. Kerry Ridgway, Masterson method, lots of therapies along the way. And I then did the grad diploma in animal biomechanical medicine, so qualified in osteopathy, chiropractic, and rehabilitation, qualified in equitaping, got a laser, and then just, got right into it. But the dissections have been instrumental in me understanding posture, and the things that horses have internally that we can't possibly, know everything when we're looking at them. So yeah, it's been a long educational journey. And then I've also done a Bachelor of Science honours. So I did a research year and realised that a PhD was not for me and research is not for me, but it was it was actually very challenging experience, but I did it. And I also did a grad cert in learning and teaching in higher education as well. And I've also, I'm an equinology equine body worker too, because I teach in I'm an equinology instructor for their bodywork course. So yeah, there's a lot about my educational journey. But I also have taught equine science at Charles Sturt University, and that's how I met Sophie originally as one of my students. And I'm really passionate about educating people. So that's also a massive reason for this podcast.
And of course, it all had to start somewhere. So, what was your first experience with a horse?
So I have a photo of myself as a 1-year-old sitting on my mum's childhood horse that she had. And I think, obviously, I don't remember that moment, but it was instrumental in my passion for horses. And my auntie was really she, trained competition horses, show horses, race horses. And so that was kind of my exposure. And then over time, we got a pony and I went to pony club and things like that. But yeah, I was hooked from that moment. I think at 1 year of age, that was it. That was the end for me.
Just spoke to your soul.
Yep, that's my life journey.
And how would you, describe your current area of interest in what you're doing now?
In my current area of interest.
Like training through functional movement.
Yeah, I think I came to this place through figuring out that I really love educating people. And I also have had a few horses where I've actually, rehabbed them from specific injuries or conditions, such as string halt, and I have a warm blood now with myofibrillar myopathy, suspect myofibrillar myopathy. And so I've actually, gone through this postural rehabilitation journey with my own horses. And so that's really shown me the power of movement, the power of posture, and just seeing how their personalities changed and how my relationship with them changed, how their movement was altered, and their muscle balance, how they just had more presence and looked a lot stronger. And so, yeah, I guess my interest in relation to that is like how we use movement to empower our horses, like overall well-being. And yeah, that's really amazing.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And you've got to round us out with a fun fact about yourself.
So the fun fact about myself is that I really love riding bridleless, and bareback as well, although I had a back injury which has kind of reduced my bareback balance. But I love the feeling of riding bridleless. I love the way horses kind of find a new part of themselves when you take the bridle off, and also how it shows you often where their true posture is. And so the challenge is, to get them to a place where you take them bridleless and they feel empowered in that posture, and you feel it as a rider, that power that they can generate when they're like got that level of freedom. So for me, that's just super fun, riding bridleless, and I've done it with a couple of horses, and yeah, I hope to do it with my young horse as well.
That's wonderful. You want to introduce your horses at all?
Yeah, we should do that. So I have Jelly. He's well, he's probably 15 now because we just turned over this year, but so he's a 15-year-old warm blood who was given to me from a client. I'd treated him for a couple of years and he used to tie up all the time. The first time I saw him, he wasn't on the treatment list, and he made sure he tied up right in front of me twice, so that he got on the treatment list. And then it's been a journey with him ever since, like learning how to manage him nutritionally, figuring out why he had such a challenge with his canter. And I spoke to another vet who suggested PSSM, and then that led me down the path of investigating muscle disorders. And ultimately, I think he has myofibrillar myopathy, which is a little different to PSSM. We'll talk about that at some point. But yeah, so he was given to me because they didn't really have a job for him anymore and they didn't want to sell him. He was going to be kept forever because he's such a pleasure. And I'd taken him while they'd been on holidays a few times, and I'd worked with his posture and his nutrition and stuff, and he'd always kind of improve from there. And then the last time he went home, he was miserable because he was back in the yard by himself. He can't have grass. And they're like, he's just not happy here. So, and we don't have a job for him anymore. Would you like him? And I was like, I'd actually wondered if they would give him to me, but I didn't want to ask for him. And so I'm like, yeah, I just lost a pony that I'd had on lease, and a little while before. And so he came into my life as a video horse for my formulating videos, which he was extremely anxious about. And he'd bite me a lot initially in the videos. But now you see him in the online course and he's like a seasoned professional who just stands there and is like, okay, do your videoing. It's all cool. So he's my current kind of riding rehab project horse, who's just a super cool dude. And then I have Ellie May, who's a 4-year-old warm blood thoroughbred cross. who has lots of physical challenges from a fair few injuries. She's not started yet. You know, I'm working through that journey, but she's so sweet. And so, you know, we'll probably talk about her journey at some point as well. And I have two off-the-track thoroughbreds, Henry and Mooney. Mooney was given to me. He's now over 20. He has a huge pectoral tear, and so riding is not something he wanted to do. Groundwork was not something he wanted to do. And so he loves scratches and spending time in the paddock. And then I have Henry, who actually started me on this whole postural journey. So Henry was off the track. I owned him 5%. First and last racehorse I'll probably ever own. And he was a pretty difficult horse when I got him. Kicked me, headbutted me, stood on me, all the things. And so he taught me how to handle horses on the ground and how to start doing in-hand postural work and the value of that. And I retired him because I just couldn't keep him sound at that stage. But he's still with me, and I still he's a very special, a lovely horse. I love him. So yeah, that's my horses. And I'll also talk a lot about Patch, which was a pony I had on lease for a couple of years. She really probably so far has been my heart horse. I've never had a connection like that with any other horse. And she taught me so much on this functional posture journey. She taught me how to listen better. And, you know, I hope I achieve that with another horse, but if I don't, you know, I can't describe that the power. I've owned a lot of horses in my life, and I've never had that relationship with any other horse. So yeah, she just taught me what true connection is and what a partnership is with a horse, which was just amazing. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey so far.
That's wonderful. And I do remember meeting Patch when I was a student and you guys were starting out, and it was beautiful to see. She was very special.
Very special girl. So yeah. But I'd love to hear a bit more about you, Soph. So what brought you here?
So I basically just had a love for horses, and I ended up doing a Bachelor of Equine Science as a way to try and make my way into the equine industry. And so I moved to Wagga in New South Wales, and while I was doing my degree, I met Raquel, who was teaching disease injury and rehab, and I was absolutely hooked because it fascinated me that I had never come across something that considered those parts of horse care and management and thinking about how the horse moved and how we could influence it. I was a real newbie to that, and it's had my attention ever since.
Yeah, and as a student, you asked so many questions, but I remember because you were in my first year, I think, as a teacher, or second year.
Second year, yeah.
And you asked so many questions, but you always had novel questions that were, showed that you'd really thought about, it. And I remember thinking God, I don't know the answer to some of these questions. You challenged me in that way. And yeah, I really appreciated that.
It's been wonderful. Yeah, wonderful lessons there. Yeah.
So what makes you so passionate about equine posture?
Since it all starts with a seed, and then you start seeing more and opening your interest and understanding different parts of equine movement, and seeing that the way a horse moves contributes to their physical sustainability and their comfort throughout all their stages of life. And I really believe that with how much they give us and what a gift it is to have our horses and to ride them and to work with them every day, that they really deserve to have comfortable, free movement, to, to have the experience of living life fully, where you have the ability to express yourself, to experiment with your motion because you have the ability to do that. I think there's so much evidence, and you see it in all the people that come through your equine functional posture course, that horses who feel physically good, they feel safe in their own body, they feel like they can explore parts of, just their environment and their people and their relationship with themselves and other horses. And I think that opens horses up to having, a bigger and better experience of life. And that all contributes to equine well-being and welfare. And I just think that is a part of what you're talking about with Patch, just like that's partnership, that's relationships, and that's reciprocal. I think it's a deep sense of care and love for your horse to want them to feel good for their whole life, and to, when they're old, when they're young, when you're riding them, when you can't ride them anymore.
Yeah.
I just think it's, a big part of the whole system.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. So, like, how did you, what's been your educational journey to get to this point?
Well, we mentioned that I came to Wagga and I did my Bachelor of Equine Science. That's been a really big foundation for me, because within that there's just so many facets of getting access to people who, give you information about nutrition, reproduction, industry, social industry change, and lots of other stuff that you don't think about right down to a cellular level. So that's been a real foundation for me.
Yeah.
Previous to that, I'd done a lot of hoof trimming workshops with David Bowie from the Barefoot, David Bowie, oh my God, Andrew Bowie from the Barefoot Blacksmith. He came to Darwin, which is where I grew up, and there was no hoof trimmers there. So that was, I learned to do that myself, which is also why I think that I was so receptive to your work, because it complements the idea of enhancing the horse's natural, physique, ability, their anatomy. And after my equine science degree, I enrolled in a diploma of functional equine osteopathy, which I've now completed, as well as Equinology's EQ 100, which you now teach as well. I've also done some other small courses in taping with Robin Larson Shelton, and lots of other stuff. And I can't wait to expand more into, I'm hoping to do my craniosacral training as well. So that's my foundation, though, is bodywork and my degree.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so when you think about your journey with horses, like, what was your first experience with them?
Very cliche, being at a local market and seeing horses, like the horse rides in the little carousel, like real horses carousel, and begging my parents to be allowed to hop on a pony. And I remember it's like one of my first memories, a little grey pony that I rode in circles, got off, and then was like, please let me get back on. And then I've just been hooked.
Yeah, it's like the first moment we'd sit on a horse, we're just like, oh, this is it. It's done.
And it is. It's like, it's the most magical feeling when you're a child too, and you have that experience, and it's so formative. And I didn't actually have horses for a long time. I had a couple of, a few weekly lessons here and there when I was about 10. And I begged, borrowed, and stole horses from a few friends in my late teens that were, really special to me. But definitely had the hunger, and it felt like such an all-encompassing desire to chase that and pursue it and make it a big part of my life.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think a lot of horse people would describe it as an all-encompassing desire. Non-horse people don't understand that, right?
Yeah, how consuming it is to have such a passion that, yeah, it just filters into every part of your life, your conversations, your Facebook algorithm and your expenses, just
Yeah. And I think that it's like it's that relationship with another being. Like it's you don't really get that with any other hobby, like where you have such a close relationship with a non-human. I guess dog trainers, they probably experience that sort of thing as well. Like people are really passionate about dogs or cats or any animal, but yeah, that relationship with another being, non-human being, and how you can formulate, a partnership and communication and stuff like uh I think that's what hooks us in, right?
absolutely. And and often the community that you find with
Yeah.
people who are exploring the same journey as you as well can be really special. Some of my closest and best, most wonderful friends have come from,
Yeah.
that journey for me.
It really kind of it really develops your life
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Yeah.
in lots of ways. So, if you talked about like you kind of mentioned that you have an area of interest in terms of hoof care. Um, why do you find, why is that a particular interest for you? Like obviously it was your first kind of introduction into things that really have an impact on the horse, but is there any other like ways?
Um, I mean, hoof care is pretty central for me. I think one, because I was introduced young, and so it's something that you become so passionate about that almost with everything, the more you learn about something, the more interesting it becomes
Yeah,
because then you're always thinking, how does what I've just learnt relate to the information that I already have on something? And I find that very often for hoof care. And so I love to look at the horse's body and look at their feet and just say, well, you know, how are they impacting each other? You know, I've been trimming since I was 14, so that's something that I really love to do with my own horse, and I just think that we all know that the hoof care seriously impacts the horse above it, and there's so many things that influence the hoof, be it their environment, their diet, their lifestyle, their stress, any metabolic conditions. And I just really believe in the saying that no hoof, no horse. And that no matter what you do in other parts of the body, that's such a central issue that um, you can't outwork poor feet. You
yeah,
can't out body work, you can't out movement poor feet, even though you can improve them in so many ways. So I think that's why I'm still so passionate about it so many years later. And it's a real hobby of mine to read about feet and think about them. And I love going to CPD and hoof clinics and learning from lots of people.
yeah. And I mean, it will be an important area that we will discuss in probably multiple episodes of the podcast because it's so integral to functional posture in the horse. So stay tuned for those episodes.
Yeah.
Um, and you mentioned with your horse now. So how many horses like do you have now? What do you have now?
I only have one horse at the moment, Charlie, who lives here with me. He is a 14-year-old stock horse. He's not very big, but he has a huge personality. He Northern
We've just lost you there, Sophie.
So I only have one horse at the moment, Charlie, who is a 14-year-old stock horse. He's not very big or tall, but he has a huge personality and very big opinions. And he is so curious about absolutely everything. You know, you can't make a campfire without him wanting to stand there and watch. He loves to play with my pot plants or just hang out with you while you're gardening, which is he's just a beautiful friend to have around. He loves carrot and he knows which door the carrots walk out of. So he often stands by my kitchen looking at me with carrot eyes. I have been working with him for over 12 months now on especially all of the things that we explore in the Equine Functional Posture course. I'm just constantly trying to think about how he's moving, how he could be more comfortable or, he has a couple of old pelvic injuries that, the ligaments around his pelvis, they're quite ropey and tight. And so just working on his mobility and his flexibility, as well as how stable he is. He has fantastic feet. Thankfully, he was, raised in an environment that have produced beautiful feet. So it's something that appeals to me very much with my hoof interest. And I'm just getting back into riding with him. So it's just developing a relationship slowly and steadily and loving the journey.
Yeah, that's so cool. It's it's a special journey when you can go through that with a horse. So what's a fun fact about you that our listeners would love to know about?
Fun fact about me is that I spend 3 months, sometimes 4, over summer every year and have done for nearly 4 years now since discovering how much I love handling weanlings. I go to thoroughbred studs and I handle foals using slow, evidence-based horse handling techniques. So I'm super passionate about shaping behaviors in ways that promote emotional regulation and emotional health for young horses, and setting them up to, through your handling to help them be balanced in all of the activities that we ask them to do, whether it's in the moment that they, take a stride from halt into walk, and showing them how they can catch their own balance when I ask them to start picking up their feet. I love thinking about how to shape a behavior to get from A to B. And I really love thinking about the horse's cognitive abilities and how they can be encouraged to feel good in an environment and feel good with people, and to feel like their experiences are loving and calm and fun. I think, that's a real an area that just, I could talk about all day.
Yeah, and I'll probably be on another episode, but it's so integral, the foal's experiences at that point and how it shapes them for their life.
Absolutely.
I've treated a number of foals as well, like from a bodywork perspective, and just seeing the things that they're dealing with from that perspective, and how treating their body at that point, can have just such a massive impact on their behavior and their posture, and therefore it's going to have a massive impact on their life. So it's the same with that initial handling. It's just so vital, and we'll definitely be discussing that in upcoming episodes, like the importance of foal posture and what we look for and all of that sort of thing. So yeah, thanks, Soph. So excited to be on this journey with you, and it's been great working with you on the course, and since watching your journey over the last how many years since I met you as well. So we really look forward to you joining us on the Equine Functional Posture podcast. We will be releasing an episode every week, so look out for that. It'll be on the major kind of podcast platforms. And yeah, we really hope that you can join us. So thanks for listening to our introductory podcast.